What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Heart Over Height episode. Today, we're going to be ranking all the teams and predicting where they're going to fall this next upcoming season. So if you do enjoy this content, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below on whether you agree, disagree with whatever it is. Let's have a conversation in the comments. And with that being said, let's jump right on into this. So, we do have seeds 1 through 15. The way this is going to work, I'm going to have one East team and one West team in each seed that you see here. And then we're just going to discuss every team, why they should be where they're at. So we'll start at the bottom. We'll work our way to the top, and then we'll just go from there. I think some of these are going to be very obvious. Others, remember, some teams move around a lot when it comes to regular season performances and all that. They dip, they get better, etc. So if you do see some, let's have that discussion in the comments. So with the Wizards at 15, they are going to be a team that is just tanking for Cooper Flag. I mean, I don't really see a whole lot going on over there. We're kind of confused on the direction that they're going. They're looking to move off of Kyle Kuzma, which makes sense for the value. You want to get a pick or two. They drafted Alex Sarr, who didn't really have a good summer league so far. And Bub Carrington had a good summer league, solid outing, but who knows what we're going to get out of the Wizards this year. I think they're still a few seasons away from putting anything together. In the West, we have the Portland Trailblazers, who, same thing. They're kind of in that same boat now. Scoot Henderson has a year that he develops, so he'll get better. Everything. They just got Donovan Clingan, which kind of confusing with their center rotation of Robert Williams, DeAndre Ayton, and now Donovan Clingan. So who knows what's going on over there. They kind of just need an identity. Jeremy Grant, good solid trade piece that maybe they'll be able to make a move for, but who knows. In the East, at the 14th seed, we do have the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are a team that are going to be tanking as well. They're going to tank for Cooper Flag. They just got a massive haul for Mikal Bridges. You just re-signed Nicholas Claxton, but there's not a whole lot else going on. You could see a guy like Cam Thomas have a fantastic season because he's going to explode because there's nothing else offensively really going on over in Brooklyn. We have the Jazz at 14. I think that they're going to end up making a move for Lauri Markkanen. It's going to make them worse for now, and then they're going to try and build in the draft, depending on the haul that they get also for Lauri Markkanen, will affect this if they do decide to trade him. As of right now, he's still on the roster, July 25th, 2024, but who knows if that will continue tomorrow or closer to the trade deadline. At 13, I have the Chicago Bulls. I like the draft pick of Matas Buzelis. I've said he might be the best player in this draft class in longevity. I think it'll be Reed Shepherd, but, Buzelis has what it takes to he seems like he's got that athletic flow that is a necessity in today's league. They also picked up Josh Giddey, obviously, for Alex Caruso. Solid playmaker that'll throw lots of lobs to Buzelis. Kobe White is their guy right now too, that you can see him just continually developing and getting better and everything like that. But I just don't think that they're quite there yet. I think that they're going to move off of Zach LaVine and get like pennies on the dollar for him. They're going to try and move off of Vucevic, get pennies on the dollar for him as well. And then, kind of just in that rebuild mode, similar to Brooklyn and Washington. I just like the Bulls roster better than the other two. At 13 in the West, now this might shock some people, but I got the Warriors. I don't really like what's going on there. You have Curry, of course, and Draymond, but you lost Clay, who in my eyes wasn't too big of a loss just because of he went 0 for 10 in a playoff game and, just didn't really seem to be like the Clay that we once knew. So I was okay with letting him walk, but they need to do something and make a big splash. Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody picks, go out and get somebody. Now I know, of course, they're trying to chase after Lauri Markkanen, and if they successfully land Lauri Markkanen, that will boost them in the standings. They could bring him in like the 5-6 range, in my opinion. But as of right now, they don't have Lauri Markkanen, so that's what I'm going off of. At the 12th position in the East, I do have the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors are a team that is in more rebuild mode, but they're almost in a retool area. Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, they got Grady Dick over there. Like, they have pieces that just need to kind of fit together now, and they've had a season to develop, and they're going off in the right direction, it seems like. So who knows kind of what the future holds for this organization, but again, they're similar to the Bulls, where I just think that their roster is just better than the rest. Now, if they end up being a 13, 14, 15 seed, it wouldn't surprise me, but I think that they'll be somewhere in this 12 through 10 range. The 12 seed for the West, I do have the Clippers. Now, the Clippers are an organization that lost Paul George. They lost Russell Westbrook. Kawhi is always injured. They are turning into this like last chance U kind of NBA team, where they're bringing in guys like Kai Jones and Kevin Porter Jr. To give them one last shot at playing in the NBA and getting their act together. I don't really buy it. And a team that just got a brand new facility and everything like that, you would think that they would have gone and kind of name chased a little bit to bring more fans and not let Paul George walk, not let Russell Westbrook walk. But of course that did happen. So I see them kind of falling, and I don't know how that's going to affect the new stadium and the new attendance and everything like that. I think that there will be excitement at the stadium. I just don't think that they're going to be that good. At number 11, I do have the Detroit Pistons. I think that they're going to be a little better this year than they were last year. As of right now, they have Cade Cunningham, they have Jaden Ivey, those solid young players that are only getting better. They also just went and got Tim Hardaway Jr., solid player to help them stretch the floor. Ron Holland, of course, was their draft pick that they seemed to be a bit of a stretch of a pick, but if he ends up working out now, he doesn't shoot the ball well. Cade Cunningham doesn't shoot the ball great from three. Jalen Duren doesn't shoot the ball great from three. But what I do notice is Jalen Duren played very well for Team USA Select for the Olympics. I also really liked what I saw out of Cade Cunningham for the FIBA USA Select team. So I'm thinking that they can develop and all kind of mesh better together with Tim Hardaway Jr. And just kind of growing. Those young players do kind of go through some struggles of shooting the three-point shot. As they continue to grow, it'll get better. So I'm hoping this year Detroit will be a better organization than last year. No 28-game losing streaks. In the West, at the 11th seed, I have the San Antonio Spurs. Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, young players that are just growing. I think that is going to boost them. Now, of course, they could be towards the bottom of the league. They could be a little bit higher here, too. The Spurs are definitely a big question mark with their roster. It's just the direction. I think last season they started off the season very slow. A lot of that had to do with experimenting on who needs to be the point guard. Whether it's Trey Jones, and then, they tried a few other players in that area, but they landed on Trey Jones being that point guard. I think that they've kind of found that better spot for the Spurs, and that'll only help them. I did also like a lot what I saw out of Stephon Castle. He was known coming out of college as that solid elite defender, but that offensive game is kind of there. The three-point shot will be his question mark, as I've said about like Detroit and everything like that, with younger guys being able to space the floor, but I do see him being a solid addition to this roster. At 10 in the East, I have the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets have strung something together there where they're starting to put pieces together. Young players like Brandon Miller. The biggest question mark, though, is going to be LaMelo Ball's health. I have said it before, and I will say it again. This is the last season that you can really, roll the dice on LaMelo. I think that if he doesn't have a good season this season, and if he is constantly injured this season, you need to start going in a different direction. You can't put too many eggs in that basket anymore. It's just not working. So this is the last season, in my opinion, that they test that out. I think that they've given him plenty of time, and of course, injuries can riddle a career. We've seen that with Greg Oden, Sam Bowie, other players in the past that have these great expectations, but they just haven't been able to pan out. Same thing with Lonzo Ball, his brother. I'm hoping, and I would love to see both of them play on the court, but realistically that just hasn't happened yet. So as an organization and as a business, you need to look at, is this guy ever going to play for us? A full 82 games or even like 60 games for us? As of right now, that hasn't happened. So we need to see that out of him. I could see them also dropping. Again, all like 6 of these teams right here could be a mixture of all of them. I don't really love a lot of what I see in the West. I mean, in the East here with these organizations. But, of course, somebody's got to be the worst. Somebody has to be better than the rest. So, the 10th seed in the West, I do have the Los Angeles Lakers just being one of the only organizations in the offseason to not add something when you were a bottom half of the league team could be kind of concerning. Now, of course, the Lakers are a very confusing team because they have LeBron, they have AD. So they could definitely be a lot higher on this list. The question is will J.J. Redick, one, be a solid coach in the NBA, and be able to get these guys to space the floor a lot better than they have in the past? The thing is since they didn't add anyone in the offseason, is that a good thing for them? Before in the past, they've name chased and gone after Russell Westbrook and gone after D'Angelo Russell, and it hasn't worked out for them. So is now the time to where you don't need to name chase. You need to let these guys just flow and build chemistry together. That's what the Nuggets have done. That's what the Celtics have done. So is that what the Lakers are looking to do? So they are another team that could go way up in this ranking if they start out the season really hot. It just is always a question mark with the Lakers. They're such a confusing team because we don't know the direction in which this organization is really going. At number 9 in the East, I do have the Miami Heat. There's a bunch of question marks around their roster. That's just basically all it is to it. Jimmy Butler, whether he'll be on the roster come the start of the season and towards the trade deadline. Injury history with Tyler Hero. Jimmy Butler doesn't play a whole lot in the regular season. You're kind of banking on Jaime Jaquez and Jovic taking a large leap this year. Will that happen? I don't necessarily know if they're a lot better than any of these other teams above them in the East, 8 through 1. So I have them at the 9th seed for now. I think that they're going to shake some things up this season. At the 9th seed in the West, I do have the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento, adding DeMar DeRozan, of course. I just don't think that he pushes the needle a whole lot for them. The question is all about spacing, especially since they've talked about moving off of Kevin Huerter. Will Kevin Huerter, if he starts the season really hot, do you keep him? And if you get rid of him, you have to get a floor spacer in return. I've seen things about Kyle Kuzma with them being tied together. I don't love that for them because the floor spacing, and there's only one basketball. Not everyone can touch the basketball. Not everyone can be, able to have the ball in their hands. So will it work? Now, one benefit about Kyle Kuzma is he has proven he can take a bit of a step back. With the Lakers when they won the championship in the bubble, he was a 3rd, 4th, 5th option on that roster. So they could be, they're just a huge question mark. They're kind of, some of these teams in the middle, you're going to see they could definitely rise or they definitely could fall. And it could happen quickly. But at number 8, I do have the Atlanta Hawks. I think although their roster isn't as good as like Miami, for example, they have Trae Young as of right now. They have young players in Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson. And I think that they can just win a lot of regular season games. Right now, they're going to be, if they do end up making the 8th seed somewhere around there, it's because, one, their roster is just better than some of these rosters down here. And 2, it's because you have your run and gun offense in the regular season. You're not going to win playoff games. I doubt that'll happen because you're going to be going up against some of these top teams that I'm going to be talking about, and it'll be pretty obvious as to why they're not going to win. But at number 8 in the West, I do have Phoenix. The biggest thing is because of last season, they didn't have a whole lot of cohesion with Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant. They don't have a point guard. And I just think that I don't think it fits. I don't think KD, D-Book, Bradley Beal, 3 guys that are, KD obviously being a number 1 option, but D-Book needs a playmaker next to him. Kevin Durant, needed like Westbrook or Curry next to him. Couldn't win without him. D-Book needed Chris Paul to get to the finals. And then Bradley Beal needed John Wall, clearly. John Wall left. He's not as good. And it's not a great thing of what Phoenix has going on right now. At number 7 in the East, I do have the Milwaukee Bucks. This is because their roster is getting older. They're not getting better. And all these other teams above them are getting better. They're looking to move off of Brook Lopez. Does that mean they're going to look to move off of Chris Middleton? What does this mean for Dame's future? Is he even happy over there? I don't even know. It seemed, there was a part of the season last year where he was saying he was not happy in Milwaukee. So is that going to happen again? In the West, the 7th seed, I have the Pelicans. This is all because of the fact that they have Brandon Ingram. I think right now, if they were to trade Brandon Ingram, let Trey Murphy or Herb Jones really have the keys to take over that forward spot and really be able to flourish in this offense, they would be a whole lot higher on this list. They'd be like a 3rd seed. I like the idea of DeJounte, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy or Herb Jones. You have CJ McCollum. Now, I think CJ needs to start taking a 6-man role, and you honestly go DeJounte, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Zion, and then your big, whoever that is. Of course, there's a question mark there. That's just reasons why they fell down to the 7th seed. At number 6, I do have the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is because of the pairing of Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. Darius playing better when Donovan's not on the court and vice versa. They played better when the other one's not there. Possible breakout player could be Evan Mobley. We just haven't seen enough yet to where I can put him in that category of his NBA draft comparison of Tim Duncan or Kevin Garnett. So with the Cavs, I see them as a team just going to be middle of the pack in the East. In the West, I do have, this one might shock some people, but I do have the Rockets. The Rockets got something going on over here. Drafting Reed Shepherd, who so far has had the best summer league of any other player. They have, obviously other young guys, Amen Thompson over there, who played really well for Team USA Select. Getting those reps in the offseason is fantastic for a young guy. You have Sengun over there. You have, of course, Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks. They have a lot going on over there that I really like. Cam Whitmore is another player that I think will take a better leap this year. So I see that they will progress a lot better this season than last season. At the 5 seed in the East, I do have the New York Knicks. A lot of this has to do with the integration of Mikal Bridges, of course. I think that he'll fit fine, but I think one player that won't and has been the missing piece, or that is the piece that is being left out, is Julius Randle. Julius Randle does not fit this roster, in my opinion. Hopefully they can figure it out, but I think that you take Julius Randle, you package him to try and go get yourself either a starting center or backup center, whichever one you want to take, because you have Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson has an injury history, so you need some depth there. That's why you had Isaiah Hartenstein. Now, of course, I understand letting him walk because you needed, because he was going to go get a bag. And that's exactly what he did. He went to Oklahoma City. That's phenomenal. But I do see them somewhere around the 5 seed, 5 through 3 in that area. At 5 in the West, I do have the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas is just one of those teams in the regular season that underperforms, and then in the postseason, they overperform. Of course, they added Klay Thompson. So, who knows about what he is going to be, whether he'll be Klay again or whether he'll be this last season of the Golden State Warriors Klay. Now, I didn't love the Klay Thompson addition in the first place because you let Josh Green go, you let your best defender in Derrick Jones Jr. go. I just didn't love it. So I don't know how that fit's going to be, but I think with Kyrie and Luka, of course, you're going to be a decent team. And I think that they'll be decent, and in the playoffs, they'll be solid too because Luka and Kyrie are so good. At the 4 seed, I have the Orlando Magic taking a jump above the Knicks, the Cavs, and the Bucks because, one, they addressed one of their major issues of why they lost in the playoffs last year, which was three-point shooting. Then, 2, I think that Franz and Paolo are going to have solid seasons. I think that they are, 1, just making a better leap, and then 2, they're kind of learning how to play with one another, and again, you found your guy that's going to help space the floor. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is a great glue guy. He's going to make players around him better, and he helped Denver win a championship, so why not go pay him and go bring him in? Perfect fit over there. At the 4 spot in the West, a team that has been forgotten about because of injuries and obviously off-the-court issues, it is the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, John Morant is going to be back. He's going to be healthier. Desmond Bane, same thing. Jaren Jackson Jr., same thing. Right now on ESPN's website, they have Zach Edey listed at the starting center. I see him being a backup. You might start Jaren Jackson, or they might shake things up and go get a center. Center market is a bit dry, but, who knows. Now, Memphis also, they've got all the intangibles of a possible championship caliber team. They've got defenders, 2 Defensive Player of the Year candidates in Marcus Smart and Jaren Jackson Jr. They've got the 3-point sniper in Desmond Bane. You've got the elite star in John Morant. The question is going to be that center position and the depth. And another is, can Jaren Jackson Jr. learn how to stay out of foul trouble? He gives up these easy fouls in the first 2 quarters of a guy that just he ends up racking up 2, 3, 4 fouls in the first half. It's like, just move your feet. At number 3 in the East, I do have the Indiana Pacers. I think, one, Tyrese Halliburton is a lot healthier, and he'll be a lot healthier. And when he was healthy last season, they were a whole lot better of a team than they were when he was injured. 2, they have a full offseason with Pascal Siakam, and then they're going to have a full regular season with him as well. And 3, they're all growing, getting better, becoming vets. And Tyrese Halliburton right now is learning and pretty much being a sponge over with the Olympic roster from KD, LeBron, Curry, etc., all those vets, and he's just absorbing all this information and going to be a lot better and play a whole lot better as well. I think you could see a massive leap from the Indiana Pacers. At number 3 in the West, I do have the Denver Nuggets. They're a team that, although they took a step back, they have Jokic and Jamal Murray. I mean, they're going to be a decent team in the regular season. Not necessarily the best, definitely not the worst. And because you have the best player on the planet, they're going to be around the 3 seed. I think that's all you can really say. You also added Russell Westbrook, who I thought was a perfect add to this roster. He's not Contavious Caldwell-Pope, of course not, but he adds an energy and a fire to this roster that I think is much needed. I think they need a guy like that to just really energize these guys. He's also a guy that it's a cheap contract. It's not nothing crazy. It's somebody that can be moved if it's not working. A lot of teams are going to want Russell Westbrook. He kind of has bought into his role. Someone I've talked about a few times in the past videos of other guys need to take a note out of his book, other vets that just aren't performing that well. At number 2, I do have the 76ers, the addition of Paul George, obviously having Embiid. You went and got Andre Drummond. You have Martin over there that you just brought from Miami. You have Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre. There's a lot of pieces going on here that are very solid. Now, with this also means that when Embiid does get injured, because it's almost inevitable he's going to, you got Andre Drummond as a backup that, although he's not Embiid, he can rebound the ball solid, defend at a solid level, and you can still run number 1, number 2 options in Tyrese Maxey, Paul George. Then, if Paul George gets injured, you've got Kelly Oubre, Martin, who can help out, and then hopefully Embiid's healthy, and you can just adjust who the number 1 option is at all points and times with this roster of Philly. It's starting to be constructed really nicely, and I really like what they got going on in Philly. At the 2 seed, I do have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards, getting the torch passed to him, is becoming one of the faces of the NBA, continually growing and getting better each and every season. Obviously, Cat and Gobert there as well. They've got a solid roster around them, and I think that, and then they drafted, or technically traded, for Rob Dillingham. I like that a lot for them. Mike Conley's on one of his last few seasons. You bring in a guy like Rob Dillingham, who in the first season can kind of just absorb all this information, and he can go score. He's going to be a solid player off the bench for them. I think that he'll provide a lot off the bench for this squad, along with, of course, Naz Reid and such off the bench. At the number 1 seed in the East, pretty obvious, it's the Boston Celtics. They won a championship. They retained everyone. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, clearly superstars on this roster. I know Tatum has been getting a lot of hate for the way he didn't perform very well and all that. Now, of course, this is only his second time in the finals, so he's 1 for 2. I also think that he needs some hate like that so that he can go out in this next season and just prove that he really is that guy. And same thing with Jaylen Brown. They both need to just go out and just ball. And that's exactly what they're going to do. And then the 1 seed in the West, the team that had the best offseason, it is the Oklahoma City Thunder, bringing in Alex Caruso, of course, bringing in Isaiah Hartenstein, and then the rest of this roster just getting better. You have Chet Holmgren, who's going to be a Defensive Player of the Year caliber player. You have Shea, All-NBA defender, All-NBA player in general. You have Lou Dort, All-NBA caliber player. And then you have J-Dub. They've got all the pieces they need to go win a championship. They really do. They just needed to develop, and I think that they're right there. They could go win it this season, could be next season. They just really have everything that they need to go win a championship. So they are going to be an extremely entertaining and extremely scary team to watch come this playoffs and come this regular season as well. So if you guys did enjoy this video, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below on what you agree with, what you disagree with. I'll be responding to the comments, so let's have a conversation. So with that being said, this has been another Heart Over Height episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.